Parents have children, sometimes by choice and planning, oftentimes by chance. All the same, parents need to deal with children all their life. And you find usually it's by trial and error. When we say this, unlike animals who have their young ones, they know how to deal with their produce, their infants. This is because of nature. So coming back to the human parent, knowing how to deal with their children plays a very important role in making that relationship work. And in any relationship, you have two types of people coming together. So for example, you could have parents who are aggressive or passive. Likewise, you could have children who are aggressive or passive. Now, the coming together of two types of people needs a lot of understanding. And this is something we need to know right in the beginning of a relationship. Like we said, oftentimes a relationship is dealt with by trial and error. As a result, there could be love or conflict, obedience or defiance. Children stay with you or leave you. And this is perhaps exactly what your parents had to say about you. So, what do parents need to know? Firstly, that children have enormous energy. There is nothing wrong with a child. But parents need to understand that children have enormous energy. So all that they need is a proper direction in life. That energy ought not to be curbed or stifled. Or sometimes there is a constant correction from parents. This doesn't help the child or the parent. There could only be a strained relationship. When the child is young, they have to obey. They have no choice. But as they grow up, they could grow up with defiance. So, how to deal with energy? A parent needs to help a child direct that energy. Secondly, every child has a nature, just as you have a nature as a parent. And this is referred to in Sanskrit as swadharma. Swadharma is one's innate nature. So, parents ought to understand what is this nature and to support it, to help develop that nature. Not guide a child based on your personal convenience or your own whims and fancies. For example, oftentimes a parent would say, I would like my son to be an engineer and my daughter to be a doctor. Now, who decides that? It may be a good thought, it may be a noble thought, but you need to respect and understand a child's own swadharma and help develop the same. Again, a parent needs to set examples and not sermonize to children. The reason being, whatever is forced is never forceful. This is a law. So when you force your ideas upon a child, they reject it. It doesn't mean you're conveying something to the child. You're just silencing a child. So whatever is forced is never forceful. And secondly, the mind, a human mind, has a natural tendency to do just the opposite of what it is being told. These are laws. You can't change them. So we need to know how to deal with them. Children, if you force them to do things, if you only indicate what has to be done and expect them to obey, they will not only disobey, but they will detest the correction. So how do we help children? By setting the example ourselves as parents and not sermonize. Now, some of the values that you ought to live up to as a parent is, in any relationship, you need to do your duties towards the other, not claim rights. To learn to give rather than take, and to develop an unselfish attitude, which means what can I do for you rather than what can you do for me. These are some of the examples that parents can set, as a result of which you find that children would be more inclined to follow, and a time comes when they take it up. It's strange that parents spend the first part of a child's life teaching them how to walk, how to talk, and then the rest of their childhood making the child sit down and keep quiet. So we need to understand how to deal with children as parents. That is your obligation. And the sooner you gain the knowledge, you'll find the better will be the relationship.